It is on. Let's
Okay.
see. Oh. Okay. Hello, Nora. How was my day? I can sum it up very quickly. Very cold. Not even I didn't have one dog today or puppy that I worked with today that didn't want to get back in the truck. They were very willing to jump
Very
back
good.
into a warm truck.
That's what's known as teaching them the hard way.
Using the exposure to your advantage. How do you train the pups not to be dog aggressive? The same way we train the adults. We just don't accept it. A lot of no, tapping on the nose if they're biting onto another puppy type of thing. Consistency and making them understand that that's unacceptable behavior. Difference between military police and SDP dogs: it's a lot more fun to train SDP dogs than it is the rest of them. Military and police dogs are usually one specific task that they're trained to do. There are some multitask, but most military and police dogs are trained to do a specific job, and that's what they do very well. They do think for themselves somewhat, but I can tell you that a service dog needs to be able to think on the move, and the only way they can get that is by just running into exposure consistently over and over and over and over and over again. It's a lot more fun training service dogs. It's a lot more rewarding. I've had great times with all of them, but I really enjoy the service dog project. Do the dogs do better with treats or just praise? We don't treat.
If you treat, then they teach you to treat them.
Right.
Their mind gets all focused on the treat and not what you're trying to do.
Right, and then you have to carry treats around with you consistently, and then they stop working because, and that's where you get into like a police dog. A lot of them that are like explosive dogs work for food, or they work for something. But if they don't get that at the end, then they think, one, that they've done it wrong, or two, they just stop doing it because you're not giving them something. So they're kind of working you instead of you working them. We praise the dogs for everything. If they're doing something good, they get praised for it. Same how we set them up for failure. A lot of times I will set them up to do something very simple and easy that I know they know how to do, just to praise them, to build their confidence so that they'll move on to something a little more challenging.
We give them a lot of treats, but not in relation to learning something.
Right.
That's a lost
The
cause.
reward part of it is where it gets off kilter. We do give treats, but we don't reward by treats specifically. It's just praise works out so much better. And when they want to do something on their own, they want to learn,
Yep.
it works out. When you start to mix rewarding them with a piece of food to do one task, you're going down a street that you're going to wish you hadn't gone down. I'm going to let Carlene answer this one because I don't deal with deaf puppies, but when you have a deaf puppy, do you cease their training and find them a forever home? Well, we don't really cease their training, no. No.
Every time you handle an animal, you're training it.
Right. And at the very minimum, we're giving them as much obedience training as we can possibly give them to begin with.
The best agility Great Dane in the United States was a dog named Nico, who was 100% deaf. She totally controlled him with hand signals and thumbs up for good boy, and that was a good dog.
Here's another one for you, Carlene, because this is right up your alley. At what age do you start noticing if a dog is going to be a pacer instead of a normal trot?
It can happen anytime, because it can happen if they get hurt.
Right.
They can be born with something weird, or they can get hurt. And I've started noticing golden retrievers. We have a bunch of golden retrievers up and down the street. They all pace. I haven't seen one with a clean trot in a while. But it can happen. You know, it can happen from an injury. It can happen, heaven knows why. And they're perfectly happy pacing, you know. Look at Perry, he's doing fine.
Yeah.
And Colleen had a dog that paced for, what, 13 years?
Yeah.
Wonderful dog. Beautiful dog.
The question on the German Shepherd, that's a favor that Carlene is doing for somebody that's bringing a military German Shepherd back, and I guess we're just going to try to help it out on a few issues and see what we can do to help them out. But it's not going to be something that's permanently here or under our control. We're just helping somebody out. They found one of Carlene's soft spots and they got her on it.
Well, he followed the dog from Afghanistan to Alaska, and then from Alaska to Everett?
Yeah.
Give me a break.
Yep. And I can assure you on this, that's why it doesn't bother me to work with other dogs when Carlene comes up with some of these crazy ones, is because I can tell you that the same training techniques that we use here, we'll see when, as soon as you evaluate that dog for a few minutes, we'll see that it's the same stuff that we deal with here. It all comes down to a bunch of things that can be solved fairly quickly as long as the handler is doing it right.
You're training the handler.
Right.
That's the problem.
95% of the time.
Yep. That's why the swear bear gets so full.
Why is pacing so bad for service dogs?
I think it's a structural unsoundness. That's my own personal opinion. I think it predisposes a lot of other problems. Hips and stuff, you know. Are you done already?
No.
Oh.
No.
I thought you were getting up.
Nope, I got a couple more minutes here. The thing that people need to understand is, and it seems like I get a lot of questions that, you know, go back to dogs pulling ahead, pulling on the leash, being aggressive towards other dogs. I think where people start to get overwhelmed is when you go to train a dog and you're not training consistently on the fly like Megan and I do all the time, and Carlene. Pick one task and work on one task. Don't try to train the dog to be a super dog in 24 hours because you're going to be heartbroken. You've got to take a task. When I take a dog out, I've already evaluated the dog because I've had the dog so many times, but I know when I go out what I'm going to do before I even go out, where I'm going to go, and what the task is that I'm trying to teach it today. And that may be something that I saw 2 days ago, yesterday, whatever the case may be. But I don't go out there and try to train the dog to do 15 tasks in an hour. You're just going to get heartbroken and you're not spending enough time working on individual tasks. If the dog needs to learn how to go into a downstay, then work on the downstay and be consistent in what you're doing when you're training it. Don't rush through it and expect the dog to just pick right up on it. It's consistency, doing the routine stuff that you need to do, and have a plan when you go out to do it. It takes time. It may look easy, but it's not as easy as people think it is. I mean, you have to have a lot of patience. You have to consistently work on things and stay with it. And then as they pick it up, you have to keep them moving and keep it moving and move on to different things. But you can't train super dogs in 24, 48 hours. It's impossible. That's why it takes a year and a half for us to get these dogs to be super dogs.
Oh, okay.
Oh, do you have dogs of your own? Yes, I have the Bonnie and Clyde. I have Charlie and Mariah. And Mariah, Mariah's coming right along.
Mariah's a challenge.
She is a challenge.
She's a learning experience.
But she listens so well when she knows it's not going to work not to listen. So she's very good at what she does. She's a very loving dog. That dog just loves to love people. She's very mellow. She's very loyal. There's no doubt about her loyalty. And the more I've worked with her, the better she gets. I mean, there's just really, if she ever does have puppies, it's going to be interesting to see how that's going to work out. Because I might turn into like a daddy or a grandpa or something and be all worried and stuff.
It happens.
To match male recipients with larger dogs. It really doesn't have anything to do with if they're male or female. It has to do with height and weight, what the needs of the recipient is, and the knowledge that we have of the dog. Has nothing to that. That might have been a trick question. It's tricked me up here if it's male or female. Male dogs to females, female dogs to males. It really depends on so much other. But today I know someone. Okay. Looking to adopting a dog this weekend with visit at my home. I already have 2-year-old male German Shepherd Doxy mix. Any suggestions?
Pray a lot.
Introduce your dogs correctly. Don't open the door and let the dog run in and see what happens. That has happened more times. And we have a lot of recipients that have other dogs.
Yeah.
And we have really, once we explain to them how we introduce dogs and what to look for, what not to do. It's just like two people when they first meet each other. They act a little bit differently, and as they get to know each other, things kind of work together. But you got to watch them. You got to introduce them. I always tell them to bring them in, put them in the downstay, bring the other dog in, put them in a downstay, and take it one step at a time. Don't rush it. Let the dogs do their thing and come into each other.
And don't give each one of them a bone.
No.
No.
I don't introduce food. Oh, that
No.
could get very dangerous.
Hello. How you doing?
Okay.
Oh, good.
Alrighty, that's about it. I'm already used up 3 minutes of Carlene's time.
Make it easier. Oh, good.
Bud's been here today. He's been doing all kinds of stuff today. We got to give Bud a kudos for today. He's making sure we don't freeze up. We're in the middle of Arctic season.
Yeah.
-7 tomorrow ahead.
We had it 110 degrees in the Eagle house today. Had to open the door, turn the fan on.
Oh, I'll bet. Yeah, we're in the Arctic. We're supposed to get down to maybe 20 below tonight or tomorrow night. Is that what I'm hearing? With a wind chill?
Wind chill, yes.
Yeah. Way too cold for me.
I know.
All right, you're up.